Hi. So these are my answers to the questions that you asked me. Under vision and style, point A, I would describe my unique directorial style and vision as a technical director. Since my experience in film has taught me that my mind works in pictures and patterns. So if I can see it in my mind, I can be able to bring it to life. And if I can see or if I can hear the music that I would align the picture with on frame, then I can be able to bring it out while I'm filming. So my directorial style of film is I'm a technical director, and yeah. So the second one is, what specific elements do you think define your work as an auteur director? So my first element would be visual style, since cinematography plays a big part in the work I do as a director. Since if I can be able to see what is on frame and how the story is coming out through the different shots that I am trying to incorporate in the film, then I can be able to tell if my vision is coming to life or not, and if there's anything that needs to be changed. So my visual style is definitely cinematography, and also production design, because my directorial style is how that picture will come to present itself in the audience's eyes. So production design plays a big role, because whatever is on frame adds up to the story. So I'm talking about the props, I'm talking about the set design, I'm talking about the clothes that the actors are wearing. So production design and cinematography under visual style, that's one of the elements that I look at. Another one is narrative techniques. This is where I love to incorporate voiceovers on my films. I feel like this better explains what is happening on my frame and on the shots that I am taking. So I feel like it really plays a big role in letting the audience know the perspective of the protagonist or the antagonist or whoever is going to be giving the voiceover in the film. Another element I would say is creative control, because as a filmmaker, unfortunately, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. This is where I like being involved in all parts of the filming production, so pre-production, production itself, and post-production. So I love it when I'm more involved in the multiple aspects of the filmmaking. So through writing to the editing to production. So creative control is an element that I incorporate in my filmmaking. Point C, under visual and style. Can you identify recurring themes and motives in your films? Yes. For me, as a filmmaker, I feel like every film that I do is somewhat of a personal endeavor, since I want to tell my stories to the world. So it's a bit personal for me. So I love to put out work that speaks to me as a person and I can relate to. And I feel like if I can do this, I can be able to speak to my audience as well. So for the themes, I tend to lean more on morality and what makes humans better, what inspires them to be better, to do better, to just have a positive impact in their lives. So if I am not doing a heroic film, I'll be doing something that teaches the audience on the power of self-improvement, the power of just learning and just being a better person in the world. So I would go, the themes I'd state are family. I love family. I also love friendship. I also love love and romance. I also have themes on drama and also psychological to some extent. So yeah, how they reflect my personal world view or experiences is, I feel like film is a very expansive channel for influence. I feel like if an audience sees something, it impacts who they become after watching the said film. So I am really big on making films that promote positive impact. Yeah, so the themes that I've just mentioned, I would like to believe that they do that. Yeah. In the next point, it's influences. So who are the major influences in filmmaking? And how have they shaped your approach in directing? So this may sound insane, but the directors that I look up to are completely different to how I am as a director. So one of my major influences in filmmaking and directing in general is Chris Nolan. And I know that's a bit cliche, but what I love about him is his style of directing. I feel like it's very unique, and it leans more on the scientific aspects of filmmaking and how different elements come together and how they just influence the world in general. We're talking about memory, we're talking about power, we're talking about the mind and how it works. So his films are more psychological, and I feel like it's a challenge to me. So it makes me curious, to learn how did he come up with this formula? How did he just think about this, and how did he even bring it to life, His films challenge our minds and how we think and how we interpret things, and I think that's fascinating for me. So yeah, Chris Nolan is definitely my major influence. I also have a female director. Her name is Greta Gerwig, if I'm not wrong. I feel like she really inspires me because she's the one of the women who have won Oscars for her directing, and being an independent woman, I feel like I relate to her a lot because she speaks about women's rights and women's place in this world and what we can do and what we are not allowed to do and how we can solve these issues. So yeah, those two really inspire me. Yeah, so under influences, point B, yes, there are particular films and directors that have inspired me to pursue my career. So when I was young, I remember I was 8 years old, and that was the first time I ever watched Titanic, the film, and it fascinated me. But then I didn't know what filmmaking is, and I believed everything that I saw on screen. So I remember the one question that I asked myself was, didn't I just see this guy die? He went into the water. And of course, an 8-year-old knows when someone goes into the water and never comes back up, they're dead and they're never to be found again. So when I saw him come back at the end of the film, it made me question a lot of things. So I guess that's where now the curiosity came in, and I just wanted to know more. But also I feel like it's more of a subliminal effect, because over the years, I've always been stuck on the television, and I got in trouble so much with my dad because I was always watching films and series, and I just wanted to know more. I was just fascinated by the way people used to tell stories through screen, and then I didn't know that I wanted to do film, but I knew I loved movies. So the passion has been there since I was young. But that one particular film, the Titanic, was the one film that I can say sparked the curiosity in me to know more about filmmaking. And that film is a masterpiece till date. It's my favorite film. Yeah. Creative process. Point A. So how do I conceptualize my creative process all the way to the final cut. So fortunate for me, the first feature that I have done was also a film that I wrote. It was an idea that I had come up with when I was in second year. So I can say I was part of the process from writing. I was also part of the process through pre-production, looking for locations, looking for the actors. I was also the casting director. All through to production, I was the one who was directing, and also in post-production, I was there to oversee the editing. So my creative process is, I feel like I'm very particular about what I want, and I don't settle for less. I don't settle for something that is not up to what I want. Stating this because I feel like as a creative, the moment you steer away from your own vision and you start listening to other people's ideas, you completely lose the originality and the authenticity of your work. So I am very adamant when it comes to people's opinions and them telling me what to do, because I am not always right, but I feel like to keep your authenticity is a very important factor in a filmmaker's career, and that is something that we need to grasp. So my creative process is quite tight, and I love to explain my vision just as I see it before production. This is to just kind of to lessen any back and forth that I might have with other creatives, because I also respect that every other person in the production is also a creative and they have brilliant minds, but we can all chip in our ideas without really digressing or veering away from the original idea. Yeah, so from writing the script, you have to be very serious and you have to be very observant with what you're writing, and also you have to bring your characters to life relatably, in a way that the audience will be able to relate to them. Then in pre-production, make sure you get the locations and everything that you need that will bring out your vision. Then in production, you make sure that you direct the actors accordingly to bring out your vision. Then in post-production, you cut up the pieces and put together a product that clearly states what your vision was to bring out. Yeah. So to answer the B section in the creative process, how much input do I allow from collaborators, every other creative in the film? So like I have said earlier, I do appreciate and respect that every person in the making of this film is a creative, and they have brilliant minds and they can come up with really good ideas. We listen to them, we try and see which one works, which one doesn't, but the main factor is, let us not veer away from the original idea, because if we do that, we lose the authenticity. So yes, I do value the input of other creatives while making the film. Yeah. So in the fourth section, signature and techniques. So are there any specific technical or stylistic choices that I have as a filmmaker? Yes. I am a technical director, so when it comes to camera work, I know my shots. I know my shots really well, and I took in consideration the fact that I'm a technical director to learn every shot that there is in filmmaking, and how each shot signifies the story you get. So with camera work, I feel like when I was starting out, it was just point and shoot for me. Like, let's just shoot and everything will be okay. But I came to realize that if you incorporate more intimate shots in your will the audience will get to interact more intimately with the actors. So when it comes to camera work, I know which shots to use, and I feel like nowadays I focus more on the close-up shots. When it comes to editing, I also edited in my earlier years when I was in school. So I feel like I really am conversant with the editing softwares that there are, likes of Premiere Pro and DaVinci. Right now, I am leaning more to DaVinci more than Premiere Pro, though I started off with Premiere Pro. And yeah, so I'm more specific when it comes to editing. So I know if it's a heavy film, which software to use and which one not to. So if I'm not the one who's editing, I talk to my editor, and now we get to make a choice which software to use. Regarding sound design, I wasn't really conversant with sound design until I realized that half of a film, 50% of a film, is sound design. So the only thing I as a director can do and make sure that the sound comes out well is to make sure that the sound while taping comes out really well. So I get a professional sound person on set. Then after that, I get an editor who does really good sound design in post-production to make sure that we have really good sound in the end product. Yeah. So in this point too, what purpose do they serve in your storytelling? As a technical director and as a person whose mind works in patterns and pictures, I feel like camera work, editing, and sound design are a crucial part of my storytelling. Without any of them, there's no film for me. So I have a great team, which I believe is brilliant. As I work on the technical part of the film, I have someone else who works on the story part of the film, and that is how we now make a great team. So yeah, for me in my storytelling, the technical parts of the film are the most significant for me. Yeah. In the section B of signature and techniques, how do I approach the use of music and sound in film? As I grow and as I learn, I realize that music and sound are overly used, especially in Kenyan films. Music and sound are supposed to accentuate your story. They're not supposed to come and cover up your mistakes, especially in post-production. So that is one thing that filmmakers need to understand. And that is something that I'm also learning. So one thing I've learned, especially from the Asian style of storytelling, is music and sound are significant, yes, in telling a story, but can we be able to just place them when need be, not when we feel like we have to? So in my own perspective, I can say I can take shots while in production, which I know in post-production there won't be sound, there won't be music, it will be complete silence, just the dialogue, just to bring out a certain mood to it. So let's be more particular with how we use our music and sound in our films. And also music and sound are very significant since they help you tell the story. They help you set the mood. They just help you make the audiences feel like they're in that world itself. So they're very, very significant. Do I collaborate closely with the composers and sound designers? Yes. With my recent work, a short film that I've just done, yes, there are really good composers out here. You just have to find them. Yeah, so every filmmaker needs to know that. And yeah, do not cut on budget. Just find them and they'll make your film better. Yeah. So in personal connection, point A, how much of your personal life and experiences are reflected in your films? So like I said, I am attached to my stories. Every story that I tell has a part of me in it. So I can say, like with the web series that I am doing or currently writing, it's a story about my experiences. I will not give much about it. I'll just let you guys see it after it's done. But yes, it's my story. It's my experiences when I was at a certain age in my life, and I feel like this story needs to be told. And yeah, I just feel like I want this story out there. So I feel like I do put in a lot of my personal life in my scripts, especially dialogue. I'd write something that I'd say, either it's a snarky comment or it's a serious dialogue, anything that especially a female actress is saying, something that I would say, especially when it comes to like framing of the words and also the tonality. Yeah, so I feel like, yes, I do put in my personal life and experiences in my films, mostly in dialogues. Let's say mostly in dialogues. My recent feature, Mistaken Identity, I won't say it's personal experience since I've never been abducted, but it's more of the relationship you have with your friends and how someone can come through and how also you get to form rapport with the people that you're around, even when these people are dangerous, and how you kind of navigate a situation and just find yourself being able to get yourself out of it. Yeah. So yeah, I felt like that is something I would do if I was in such kind of a situation. So yes, I do bring in my personal life and experiences in my films. It's a personal endeavor, definitely. Yeah, this is how I give a piece of me to the world. I feel like this is how I share myself to the world. This is what I was meant to do. Yeah. So part B of personal connection. Do you think it's essential for a director to have a personal connection to the stories they tell? Yes, definitely yes. Why? Because when you're bringing out your vision and when you're directing actors and trying to bring this film to life, you need to be passionate about it. You have to have a connection to it. Or else you're going to just do things vaguely, just do things to get it done. But if you're passionate about it and if you have a personal connection to it, you'll find that whatever you're doing it with grace. Yeah, you're doing it from your heart, and you want the story to be told beautifully and for it to have the human essence in it. So I feel like it's very essential for a director to have a personal connection to their stories, regardless if that story is theirs or they have been given as a project to handle. This is why you're told as a director, don't accept films that don't speak to you, because this story will go out to the audience, and if it was just a mere job that you are doing, then it will be seen. It will portray itself. Yeah. In the next part, evolution and adaptation. So how has your style and approach to filmmaking evolved over the course of your career? So I started filmmaking when I was 19 years old, when I was in first year, while we were doing the ridiculous films. And I feel like it has been incredible improvement, because like I said earlier, what we were doing was point and shoot. Let's just get this done. If I have a frame and if the actors have spoken, then that's fine. But as you learn and as you go to sets and just get to immerse yourself in filmmaking and how serious this industry is, you get to understand that filmmaking is not about point and shoot. Filmmaking has a lot in it. It's a collaborative process. You cannot make a film on your own. So yes, filmmaking for me has evolved over the course of my career, and I feel like right now that I am no longer a student, it's more challenging. It has more pressure because there's just so much to learn, but it's interesting. Yeah, and I feel like the more challenged I get, the more excited I get. Yeah, so yeah, I have improved and I continue to improve. And I guess I'll continue improving until my last breath. And that is the excitement. That is what is making me happy. That I'll never sit down and say, I've cracked filmmaking. It's more of something comes up every time, something new to learn, new equipment to handle, new stories, new people, new engagements. And that is exciting and that is life. So yeah. That's my Roman Empire. Yeah. In section B of evolution and adaptation, how do you stay true to your artistic vision while also adapting to change? Let's just say I am an adamant person, and I like to sticking to what the ideas that I have. Sticking to scripts is more of a mantra for me. Sticking to the original idea. And even as I engage and as I interact with my fellow creatives, that is what I always emphasize. Like, we can get out of the box, go around it, get out of the environment of the box, fly, dig, do everything. You're allowed. You're a creative. You're allowed to get as far as you can. But let's remember, what was in the box initially is what matters. So as much as you veer away, you have to come back to the original idea. So yeah. So how true do I stay to my artistic vision? 100%. That is beyond doubt. Yeah. In the next segment, challenges and achievements. What has been your biggest challenge as a director in maintaining your auteur identity in an industry that is often prioritizing commercial success? That, literally. I feel like filmmaking, in a sense, not in a sense, actually it should be seen as such. It's a business. And we are bringing our art to life so that we can be able to earn a living from it, as much as it is a passionate endeavor. But you find that so many people who make films just make it for the money, which I understand. But I feel like for someone who really wants to tell their stories to the world, you have to first work in the creative process. This is where you bring out your vision and you bring out your story passionately, and you make sure that whatever you're putting out, the product, is going to make an impact, either to improve the moral values of people, or teach people, or just entertain. Then once you have established that, now once you have your product with that, now you start thinking about how it's going to give you commercial success, and how now this product of yours that you have worked tirelessly and used money on can now bring back the money. So my biggest challenge as a director is working with people who just want to get things done. If I can find people who are really passionate about what they do and they do it for the love of art, that is my biggest happiness. Yeah. In section B, which of your films do you consider the purest representation of your auteur vision? It hasn't come out yet, and I'm hoping it will, and it's in the works, and once it does, come back and I'll answer this question. But so far, I don't feel like there's one that has pure representation of my auteur vision yet. Yeah. In the next segment, future projects. Are there any future projects or genres you are particularly excited about exploring? Yes. Being a technical director, I'm really, really into sci-fi films. I feel like they really excite me. Yes, so that is one genre that I really want to explore, especially with the growth of AI and how it's impacting our current state of life. Yeah, I want to explore that 100%. Also dramedies and comedies and rom-coms. Yeah, so I'm a girl. I'm just a girl, and I love roses and bunnies and cute stuff. So I feel like as a girl who's 23 years old, if I like this, I know there's an audience out there who would love the same. And I can give an example with a masterpiece like Bridgerton. you find that a high percentage of people who watch Bridgerton are ladies who are just immersed in the idea of love and the beauty of it. And that's a really large crowd. And there's a lot of us who are like that. And I really want to explore that genre. Yes. In section B of that question, how do you foresee your directorial approach evolving in the coming years? What new themes or styles are you interested in experimenting with? I feel like the more I grow, the mature I get, and the more mature styles of filmmaking that I'm willing to explore. So I feel like in the coming years, I'm going to be doing more mature stuff. So yeah. So when it comes to like political genres and themes, and something to do with the economy, something to do with taxes, something to do with people's health, and just improvement of people living conditions. Yeah, I feel like that is one thing I will explore. The older I get, the more mature stuff I want to explore. Yeah. And finally, industry perspectives. What are your thoughts on the current state of auteur theory in contemporary cinema? And do I think it still holds relevance in today's film industry? Yes. I don't know if this is negative or positive, but yeah. So with Gen Zs, Gen Zs are more original. They stick to their ideas. They stick to what they want. And fortunately or unfortunately, I am one. So I feel like auteur theory will blossom. Why? Because everyone will want to do what they want to do. Like it's going to be very hard to convince someone to do something just because. So I feel like it's very relevant in today's film industry, and we are seeing the rise of filmmakers right now, because now you no longer have to have a camera to make a film. Now you can make films with mobile phones, and yeah. So I feel like this theory will really blossom, and it will expand, since people really want to do what they want to do. And I feel like that's good, because now people will not be limited to certain stereotypical things to do. So they'll explore, and that's beautiful. So my thoughts are auteur theory will stay, and it will be vibrant, and it will blossom. Yeah. In section B of industry perspective, how do you perceive the balance between artistic integrity and commercial viability in the current film landscape? Both of them are very, very important. And like I said earlier, you have to be able to distinguish between the two. Because a proper phrase that we say in the film industry is, your passion will not feed you. There's never a day you're going to eat your passion. You have to understand what this passion will do for you in terms of bringing you money. Because at the end of the day, artists are also human beings, and we need a means of living. So in the artistic integrity of it, you have to understand your craft. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Don't just do it for the sake. Understand what you're doing. Are you attached to it? Is it a personal endeavor for you? If it is, then make it grow. Give it time. Learn. Be around it as much as you can, and make sure it grows. And as it grows, it also makes you grow as an artist, and fall in love with what you do. And do it because of you. Don't do it because of someone else. And that is how you'll see it becomes a part of you. And once you have a product that is a part of you, that you're giving out, you even feel proud, and you feel like the world will see the work, and they will see you through it. So once you have your product in your artistic integrity, now you figure out a way on how you're going to commercialize your product, because you cannot be using money to make a product and then leaving it on the shelves. Because now why? That is now the question. Why were you doing it in the first place? So you first have to prioritize your whys. You have to understand, why am I doing this? How is it going to benefit me? And also, what happens after I am done doing it, So for me, the advice that I can give is, make sure you grow your artistic craft. Make sure it grows. Make sure you're attached to it, and make sure you do it with intention. Then after that, make sure you learn how to commercialize your work. And this is how now you're going to be able to fully engulf yourself in your art and just feel alive, because not only are you giving a part of yourself to the world and sharing it, you're also gaining something in return. And isn't that bliss? Isn't that just amazing? So in the current film landscape, you have to be able to distinguish between the two and learn how you're going to incorporate the two and marry them to make sure that at the end of the day, you win. So I guess that's all I had for the questions that you had for me today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts. And I hope this helps, and have a great day. Day.